Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, but let your methods be regulated by the infinite variety of circumstances. Have this in your mind. According as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. Circumstances are different. You should not have some sort of oh, this is the only style that works, or this is the plan I'm going to use, because as we already read, there are infinite variety of circumstances that may rise. You should be able to take any advice and apply to it to your circumstances where you are in life. In war, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. In war, generally, the good general is the one that cares about victory, not about his honor or some sort of human indignations. Like, he fights, a good general, because he wants to bring good to his nation, because he knows the cost of defeat, what cost of defeat means to the nation. It will go to ruins, and possibly will never be able to resurrect. So the good general is free from all those human emotions. He fights, he thinks, and also a good general understands that all sorts of warfare is also a financial war. So which side will burn its own cash faster? Because that side will lose eventually. Because it's a fight of finances as well, obviously. To fight and conquer in all your battle is not supreme excellence. But what is supreme excellence, you may ask? Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. This is a very intriguing thing, because supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. This is long-term strategy or short-term. How are you going to do it? It's very interesting what kind of theories can be applied to it, and how deep these thoughts go. And it's a very fascinating thing to think about this, deepness of human nature, and such a general he is, and such a mind, what a mind he has. All these things are based on practical observations. This is not the theories, it's a practice, which can be applied to practice. And again, these things can be put in your life, used just as it can be used in warfare. And it is used in warfare. The general that don't understand these principles, well, pity his armies and him, and nation as well, the nation. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you. Yes, we have already, right? Gained you one victory. Why is this? I have not explained this. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, because next battle circumstances will be different. That's why you should always be changing. And at the same time, as well, if you repeat the same tactics always, your enemy can see it. It's not like your enemies are blind. They can be like, okay, this is what tactic will be used right now, because that tactic he used there. So they will be able to counterattack you. In war, the way is to avoid what is strong and strike at what is weak. Again, you don't attack some sort of a ridiculous circumstance where attack is just suicide. There are commands that should not be obeyed. If you do this, there are roads which must not be followed, armies which must not be attacked, towns which must not be besieged, positions which must not be contested, commands of the sovereign which must not be obeyed. Again, if you see that if you attack, you will win, you will be able to win, and your sovereign orders you to not to attack, you will attack. You have to attack. But if you see that if you attack, you will lose, and your sovereign urges you to attack, you won't attack. Simple as that. And again, there are some ridiculous places you should not attack, but rather there use that strategy which we mentioned, right? About supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. The entire difficulty of tactical maneuver consists in turning the devious into the direct and misfortune into gain. If you face all the misfortune and you are cornered, you can, if you were to explain to your soldiers, okay, we are cornered, your soldiers will bring all out because they are cornered, they have nothing to lose. They will show an exceptional courage. And about that we'll talk about later as well. Now, let's talk about 5 best-sitting sins of general, or we can call it 5 sins of general, or 5 deadly sins of general, and here's why. And let's go through these 5 things, and you'll understand. Recklessness, which leads to destruction. pretty obvious, right? Cowardice, which leads to capture. A hasty temper, which can be provoked by insults. A delicacy of honor, which is sensitive to shame. And the fifth one is very interesting as well. It's like super interesting, because first four like makes sense, but the first is such a deep thought, because look, over solitude for his men, which exposes him to worry and trouble. Powerful observation. He who exercises no forethoughts but makes light of his opponents is sure to be captured by them. I mean, this book is very practical. Like, this is among the real, like, all war is based on reality. You cannot win wars by some sort of ridiculous, by perception that's not based on reality. That's why this type of six packs, this such strategy six packs, like there are other war books war studies we're going to review, and this is why this is about war. This book. It's so interesting because you cannot have this naive perception and win a war. You cannot be like, okay, let me sit down there and visualize how my enemies will cease to exist. Yeah, sure, do that and you will lose. And pitiful nation, and if you're a general, it's even more huge disaster. Like, because again, war is based on reality. You cannot win wars by having naive perceptions and beliefs. It takes action, first of all, and not just thinking, but also to think and plan through and come up with wider circumstances, images in your head and plan. It's super important for the war. So soldiers must be, and here's now how you have to treat soldiers. Soldiers must be treated in the first instance with humanity, but kept under control by means of iron discipline. This is a certain road to victory. And there is this story of the book, basically, that Sun Tzu took this challenge of the king, kind of to, if he would be able to, discipline female armies, a female army, basically, and which were consist of, concubines of the emperor, and he chose the emperor's favorite concubines as commanders, essentially. And he gave order, and all females started to laugh. And it was like, it may be my fault because of general's command is not heard properly. Now, second time he gave command, and again laughter appeared instead of obeying his commands. And second time when it happened, he was like, well, I gave proper command, general gave a proper command, and army did not obey. It must be fault of these people, the one that are in charge of units, essentially. And he gave a command and beheaded, basically, give command to kill the favorite concubines of empire. And so it happened, and of course everybody felt frightened and understood that this is no joking matter. And discipline was, brought in that army because of his restlessness. And Emperor understood that, well, this Sun Tzu is, you are a real general. If you know the enemy and know yourself, your victory will not stand in doubt. Now, there's famous another variation of this quote that if you know the enemy and know yourself, you will be able to win 100 out of 100 battles. But if you know yourself and not your enemies, you will be able to win half of it only. And if you know only your enemies and not yourself, again the same results. And if you know neither your enemies and neither yourself, you will lose all the time. Again, why will lose? Because first of all, you will be under these 5 sins of general, and as well as at the same time, you won't have any understanding of enemies. How can you fight things that you don't understand? Move not unless you see an advantage. Use not your troops unless there is something to be gained. Fight not unless the position is critical. Practical, very, very, very practical advice. Like, move not unless you see an advantage. Use not your troops unless there is something to be gained. Fight not unless the position is critical. Such a powerful observation. Like, people, in certain, basically, there is this side of romanticism toward war, right? No, Sun Tzu said all these things is just BS. Be practical and follow these principles, and you will win. and if you don't, you will lose and you will fail. And it's also a very interesting remark of now reading this book here, that when he talks about the attack by fire, it's chapter 12. He gives these strategies of how to attack with fire, and I was thinking, generally, entire book, there is this thought behind my head that, like, what he would write if he knew current capabilities of the military, like what he would write down. It's like very super interesting thought to have. Like, what would he write down if he had to the understanding of today's military, essentially, what he would write. How would he write his Art of War in 21st century today, now? Okay, guys, that's it for the Art of War. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. See you.